Without further ado, I'm Wade Steinloggy, Assistant Athletic Director at William Penn, and we're going to get right into it because we've got a lot of coaches and athletes to talk to. So we're going to get right started here with Oskaloosa High School girls swimming. As we're getting set up here, Nick Rule, Athletic Director of William Penn, has some sign-up sheets, a whole bunch of free drawings here, as well as some free things for Oskaloosa High School as well. So just stop over, put your name on it, and we'll do some drawings as the night goes on. There you go. Okay, so once again, starting off the night here with Oskaloosa girls swimming and Coach Mackenzie Kaufman, as well as student athlete Sophie Dykstra. So thank you, ladies, for starting us off here. Coach Kaufman, you've already been a coach here at Oskaloosa, but starting new in the swimming program as a head coach. So how's the first few weeks going?
They've been awesome. The girls have really been rolling since our open swims this summer. We had great turnout, and that has been a great way to lead into the season. The girls, we have focused really hard on technique, perfecting things with so many different aspects in swimming: dives, flip turns, streamlines. You can gain seconds with each of those. So we've taken a lot of time to focus on technique. We've tried to create some well-rounded swimmers, working every stroke with every girl, not just specializing. And they've just done an awesome job working hard, encouraging each other, and pushing through those back-to-back hard workouts or a hard workout after a meet. So I've been really proud of them.
You talked about this at the Booster Club meeting last night, but obviously struggling a bit with numbers as we do at times. But talk about, even though the numbers are a little bit lower, what are the expectations for this year? And are the expectations, obviously you're a new coach, so expectations different? Did you have to sit down in the first meeting and say, you know what, this is what we did in the past, but this is what we're going to do now?
With me, it's kind of nice to have a fresh start with that sometimes, because we can say we are small, but there are goals we can still hit individually and as a team. We have dual meets with teams who are comparable in size, not quite as small as we are, but we are right there with them. And so if we throw a couple extra events in per girl, we can still make some noise there. So the expectation is still we go out, we each individually do our best to get PRs, and then as a team, we're still looking at those points to see where we can gain some more and where we can be competitive.
You guys already have had a competition under your belt. I think one, maybe I'm wrong. Two. Missed one. Talk about the first couple meets and just recap them a little bit.
Yes, our first meet was in Ottumwa. It was Ottumwa and Fairfield and us, and what I saw was an incredible competitive mindset from the girls, which sometimes isn't the case with the smaller team, but everyone was ready to go, ready to compete. We were always right up in there, the top couple girls. We won a couple events. Even that first meet, we had girls set all-time career PRs. And then from first meet to second meet, same thing. If they weren't right consistent at that time, they were dropping. We had girls from first meet to second meet drop 27 seconds, 19 seconds, quite a few drop 10 seconds. So from first to second, even the improvement we're seeing is huge, and the competitive mindset is part of that.
You guys have, I believe you have some home meets this fall?
Yes, we have one home meet. It's Tuesday, October 10th.
Talk about some other things that fans should be expecting this season. Again, small but mighty is basically probably the motto, but what should fans expect as you're going along?
Sure. So it's my philosophy as a coach to create well-rounded swimmers, like I said. So you're going to see swimmers doing things that they haven't done before, different events at each one. We'll keep consistent, we'll find their strengths, but you'll also see them branch out, do some different strokes, be in different relays. Expect to see, just continued growth and improvement. Something else that we've worked really hard on is our team culture, and I think we've really succeeded in that. I've heard a lot of good feedback about other coaches and people who have worked with the girls saying they are very encouraging. It's like working with a family. So just seeing a very strong team as well.
All right, you're off the hot seat. We'll get the student athlete in there. See, it's that simple. It's really that easy. All right, Sophie Dykstra, senior Sophie Dykstra, correct? Junior. Wow, I got ahead of me a little bit there. Okay, junior Sophie Dykstra. Let's talk a little bit about you personally. How'd you get into swimming? And I guess what's the best thing about swimming outside of just getting to dive in and all that?
Yeah. Well, okay, so I've been swimming around like 12, 13 years. I don't really know, I lost count, honestly. It's a lot of years, but I got into swimming because my parents really wanted me to do swim lessons and know how to swim, so then if we're at the lake or somewhere, I wasn't gonna drown, you know. And so after that, they noticed that I was like kind of getting good at it, you know. And so then I joined swimming when I was 6 or 8, around there, I don't know. And so then my passion for it just continued throughout the years, and I enjoy it, I love it. It's been my passion over the years. And what I love about swimming is when I'm swimming and doing my events, it kind of takes the stress and the pressure away of like everyday life in school and other sports and things like that. I just kind of have to focus on swimming and just that event and things like that. And so that's what I really love about it. That's kind of my safe haven, so to say. So yeah, I love swimming.
What events are you competing in, and what goals have you made for yourself this year?
Wow, the events, yeah, pretty much all of them. No, but I mainly swim 200 IMs off and on, you know, and then I always swim the 100 breaststroke, and I get a couple freestyle 100s, 50s in there some other times, and then I do relays, medley, free relay, sometimes get thrown in the 100 fly, you know, and not a lot of backstroke though, yeah. But my goal this year is to go for that record for the 100 breast, and I was really close last year, and I could reach it, I could touch it, and I could feel it, and this season I'm really trying to get after that, and you know, just trying to get more PRs and get quicker on my turns and dives and everything, so yeah.
All right, well, thank you ladies so much. Appreciate it. Once again, the Oskaloosa girls swimming team, Coach Kaufman and Sophie Dykstra. So,
Thank you.
Thank you. Technical difficulties, as always. Okay, we'll continue here. We have the cross-country teams, beginning with the William Penn University cross-country team, headed by Sean Goswich, as well as athletes. I'm gonna find my paper here. Michaela Kamek and Vernon Trozy. I didn't think about that also. Big applause from Coach Friesen. Big applause. Coach, you're up first, as always. All right, we're learning we need to be really close to the mic, make sure that we're spiking there so everybody at home can hear us. Okay, Coach, a lot of youth this year, definitely a youth movement here, big classes on both sides. How are things looking early on?
Pretty well. We had our first competition last Friday. Smaller meet over at Simpson, but like you said, very young team. We were led by freshmen on both sides. You know, guys leading with 3 freshmen, ladies leading off the freshmen, 2 of them right here. You know, looking at the teams, the women really impressed me. Their 1 to 5 gap was pretty small, which is always a good thing. And you know, a lot of individual good performances out of the guys. Team aspect needs a little bit of work, but you know, you throw Kenny, Bolton, and Terry into the mix, and I predict the team gap to be a little bit smaller.
Training tips. You know, obviously you don't want to burn out your athletes right away, but you know, knowing that it's a long season. But in the same respect, I mean, you want to get the most out of them every week and continue to move forward. What are some of the training tips that you've learned over the years? And you know, you could go hours on this, obviously, but how you know, balancing that throughout the year.
Sure. I mean, the biggest one is to be consistent. You can't take time off and then try to get back in shape and kind of yo-yo your way throughout the year. That's a surefire way to be injured or be burned out or just not be ready for it. So being consistent and putting in the work is rule number 1. And then taking care of your body to make sure you can be consistent is rule number 2.
Talk about the expectations for this team. Again, very young squad on both sides, but doesn't mean that they can't come away with some some high accolades when it's all said and done.
Right, very young, but very talented group. So realistically, we're just looking to advance up the conference. Rung by rung, keep moving up. Plant ourselves firmly with a really young crowd. Hopefully, in the middle of the conference this year, return everybody, get more talent, keep climbing.
You guys were probably the closest you're going to be all year at Simpson just last weekend, but also have Grandview in a few weeks. Where else can the team or fans catch you guys in the area, close area?
Yeah, Grandview would definitely be the second closest for us. But we're over in Rock Island later in the year. We'll be in Cedar Rapids at Mount Mercy in October. So there are a couple of closer ones to us.
Alrighty, off the hot seat. Hand it over. All right, Vernon, freshman here. Talk about the difference between, we're going to talk about to the high school team in just a second, but talk about the biggest difference between being a high school runner and now, switching to, flipping the script, so to speak, to a college runner.
Well, for college, it's a lot different. I have a team that I can run with compared to my high school. I was always the one that didn't have a team to run with. I was always running alone and not quite advancing as much as I could because I didn't have nobody to catch. When I came to college, I actually had people to run with. I was starting to enjoy myself a little bit more. And then when we do our tempo runs or our speed workouts, I have people who are trying to catch me, which in return makes me faster. And that's just a big difference for me. I feel home here compared to when I was in high school. I didn't have anybody.
Michaela, same question here. Basically, biggest difference. I mean, the mileage, obviously, you're going to put in a lot more miles. I assume Coach Goswich is pushing you guys a little bit harder than you were in high school. So talk about biggest differences. Did I give away the answer already?
Basically, like.
All right, switch question. I got another one. You're still on. You're still on. Talk about your expectations for this year. As a freshman, obviously you're not going out and saying I'm going to win a national title, but what are you trying to achieve this fall?
Just to do good overall with conference and yeah.
All right, we'll switch it back over to Vernon. Vernon, same question. Expectations for yourself as well as team expectations, especially when you guys get healthy.
Well, for team expectations, we during our runs, the top four who run together, we crack jokes. We're like, oh yeah, we're gonna get Terry Jackson a national ring this year. We're gonna get him to that place, and we're very serious about that. We're gonna try to go get rings for all of us. And then for myself, I just want to keep moving forward. I want to break. The other day I was talking to Coach about breaking some times for the school and holding records, and I continue with that plan. I continue to go chase the only All-American that the school's ever had.
All right, well, once again, the William Penn cross-country team, Coach Goswich, as well as Vernon Trozy and Michaela Kamek. So thank you guys so much. Best of luck the rest of this fall. All right, switching gears over onto the high school side, we're going to bring my neighbor, actually, head coach Mike Comfort of the Oskaloosa High School cross-country team, and he is joined, I got to get my papers here, by Braden Van Kampen and Abby Lumsden. Slow clap. Your wife had to start that one for you. Good job, John. Now you have to clap for her, though. You realize. Okay. All right.
That's why I married her. She supports me.
Big supporter. All right, Coach. Let's talk about the past real quick, but looking towards the future here. This team, especially on the men's side, has been quite strong the past few years, coming up just shy of making the state. What is the difference this year? How does this team look as compared to past years?
So really our focus coming into this year goes back to our theme, which is strive, which is Abby suggested. And our focus is we want to make sure that we're constantly getting better every day. We're striving to improve, not just plateauing, not being happy with what we did yesterday or last week. And those teams that we've had have been really good had that attitude, and that's something we really wanted to get back to this year. Create that great culture, striving, and that's just been our focus. If we do that, we'll be where we want to be. And the team has also set some goals to be positive, have the right mindset, be a family, be together, and that's really our focus, to create just an outstanding culture, and that will breed success. And so that's been our focus so far, and I can't tell you how happy I am with how this team's performed these first 4 weeks. We've gotten so much better the last 2 weeks, and it's a lot of the leadership of these two and their upperclassmen, and this is a really fun team to coach, and if we keep this up, we're going to do something pretty incredible this year.
You guys are already in competition as well. Talk about the first competition that you guys have had.
Yeah, so we went to Williamsburg on Tuesday. Boys were 3rd out of 12, girls were 6th, but the most important thing was I felt like we met our goals of striving and really competing. I just was really impressed with how all of our athletes got outside their comfort zones. And this is such a mental sport where you can be in the best shape possible, but you're running hard for 3 miles, and you have to train yourself and teach yourself to get uncomfortable, and when you think you're at your limit, you're really not, and push past that. I'm really impressed with how we did that, and went out hard. We had a lot of people that were gutsy, and you could tell they were tired in that 3rd mile, but they gutted through it. A lot of kids run their fastest time, and pretty much all of our kids are at least better now at this point of the year than they've ever been at this point in the year. So really excited about that, and we go to Pella on Saturday, and hopefully we can keep it rolling.
You guys have a home event later on this month, I believe, right?
Yep, 17th. Yep.
Big event. You guys have 10, 15 teams, correct?
Yeah, some are in there. It kind of fluctuates. Last year was pretty big because we had a lot of people wanting to get into our meet because of the weather. But in between there, 10 or 15 at Edmondson.
What are some other things that fans should be looking for this year by year's end? What's Oskaloosa cross country going to look like?
People are going to see a team that competes for every mile, hard, and just gets after it. I'm not going to predict anything in terms of what we're going to do, but I think this is a team that's going to make the community proud, and we're going to get better. And where we end up is up to the kids, but I'm proud of this team really so far, and I think this is going to be just an exciting thing to watch because of how hard they work.
All right, you can flip it over here. Braden, Coach, you alluded to this a little bit, talking about mindset and having to overcome, but the mindset of a lot of people thinking of a cross-country person is, you guys are just crazy, because who likes to run any more than 50 feet? So talk about the mindset of a cross-country runner. What's it take to be a cross-country runner?
Well, I mean, a lot of sports, you get punished by running. So in our sport, it's just like it's mentally extremely difficult along with physically. I mean, you're running for 20 minutes, and you have to be strong that whole 20 minutes to push through the pain.
Talk about your goals for this fall, both team as well as your individual goals.
For our team, I just want us to reach our max potential. I mean, I feel like if we work as hard as we do and practice like we do every day, I mean, we have a very competitive team. We're really young, and I think if we just work hard the whole year, like, we'll be happy with what we come out with.
All right, we can switch over one more time. Abby, you're up. All right, well, I know you're just going cross country because you want to keep in shape for my wife for soccer, so I know how this is. Sorry, Mike, I can tell you how it is. As long as you have her, right? Exactly. Talk about, being a cross-country runner again, same, kind of heading on to Braden there. Just what it takes to be, willing to put in mile after mile every day.
Yeah, it's definitely very mentally challenging, and it definitely helps to have like a very close team that can like push you and just help you through every mile, because it's definitely very difficult.
Talk about your own goals that you've set for this fall.
Personally, I just want to be able to help lead our team and hopefully get a girl to state to represent us. And yeah.
Simple goals, that's all you need. All right, well, once again, the Oskaloosa cross-country team, Coach Comfort, as well as Braden Van Kampen and Abby Lumsden. So best of luck, everybody. everybody in the future, just make sure mics are really close to your mouth. Unfortunately, you too, Mike. Come on. Gotta call him out. Nick, do you have any? He's ready to go with two of them. Okay, the first drawing. Do we know what we're drawing for, or they're going to pick it? Okay, they're going to pick. Okay, the first winner of the raffle is Kevin Durande. So come on up, Kevin. And the next individual that has won something in our raffle is Elmer Stahl. Congratulations. All right, moving the program over here, we're going to switch from cross country over to soccer and start with the William Penn men's soccer team headed by Jamie Highcock. Got the fans way back in the cheap seats back there. The nosebleeds, exactly. And joining him will be Eduardo Benato. Eduardo is very popular. This is his second trip up here, so he knows exactly what's going on now. All right, Coach, we'll get right to it. Record-breaking season last year, 14-5, defeated several top 25 teams. Breakdown last year, real quick, but what are the expectations going forward to this year as most of the individuals are back from last year?
Yeah, obviously last season was very successful, and it was credit to the players and brought into all of the ideas and philosophies that we put in place. We recognised in pre-season we had a very good group as a personality and some good characters, and we recognised that would probably get us through a few results, and ultimately that's what happened. They beat some of the best teams in the nation, and we did some very good things. Going into this season, we obviously want to improve. Like you touched on there, we've returned the same group of players, and we've added a few more new additions to help the squad. So the goal should be higher than last season. The goal is to make the national tournament, but we're under no illusion and that we know it's going to be a very difficult challenge to do that, but we do have the players to reach that goal.
You already have a couple games under your belt, defeating Avila, and then it's not just a tough, hard schedule that you're going to have. You obviously have a very tough non-conference as well, playing against top 25 Olivet and Nazarene last week. Just talk about real quickly how the start of the year has been going.
Yeah, it's been good. We come in a little bit earlier for pre-season. We listened to the opinions of the players and some opinions from the staff on how we wanted to approach pre-season and adjust some of our practice schedules and incorporate more strength and conditioning sessions and stuff like that. But pre-season went really well. We played two very hard games and got a first win. First game of the season, we played well with only 10 men on the field. And then we actually played pretty well against Olivet Nazarene, obviously 19 in the nation. We outshot them, so that obviously statistically that shows that we were playing well that day as well. But yeah, just our offense didn't really turn up and probably deserved to lose at the end.
The Heart had the runner-up as well as the national champion last year, so obviously an extremely tough league. Talk about what it's going to take to move up in the league, or at least stay status quo, because it looks like the teams behind you got tougher as well, so nothing's going to come easy this fall.
Yeah, certainly. Our goal is to definitely beat who we should beat. If we do that, then it'll put us in a very good position, because we'll always have the ability and the game plan to nick a result against some of the best teams in the nation. Obviously, now that we are in the the national polls receiving votes, it has made people raise their game against us, which makes it a little bit more challenging for us. But if we can beat who we can beat and then nick a couple of results, that should put us in a good position. As the polls have shown, we are recognised now for what we did. We don't have to go and beat 4 of the top 25 teams, 3 of the top 25 teams in the nation, because we're already there. As long as we can maintain it and keep it there, that is the key. But we've got to start winning games as quick as possible.
You guys are at home quite a bit this fall, including Robert Morris this weekend, 3 o'clock start for the women, 5 o'clock for the men. Just quickly preview the Robert Morris team.
They're a good team. They beat us last year. Eduardo might even touch on it a little bit. But, they beat us with 10 men last year, and we were still better than them. And they won in double overtime, and it was a bit of a sucker punch that they gave us, really. And we definitely want to get some some payback maybe from last season. They've won both of their pre-season games. They've won both of their regular season games. I know they coach well. They've got some good players. We know a couple of guys they've got on their roster, so it's going to be a very, very difficult game. And it's important that we get back to winning ways. And as I just touched on there, if we want to have any sort of possibility of getting an at-large bid, then we definitely need to beat teams that aren't ranked. And that's one of these teams, so we need to really put together a good performance on Saturday against a good Robert Morris team.
All right, we're going to switch over here to Eduardo. Eduardo, you guys, again, beat 3 top 25 teams last year. Tremendous defensive team. You guys control the ball really well. Offense has sometimes been a bit of a struggle, so where to basically get better than you were last year, where's the offense going to come from?
I believe, first of all, we started dividing practice defensively, offensively. During this week, Coach Simon was taking defensive players, Jamie was taking offensive, and vice versa. So that helps with the technique, with the intensity, with the finishing, whatever the offensive players has to do to score more goals and be closer to the goal, to the opposite goal. Yes, I think we had a really good defensive team last year. And I think we're going to keep it this year. We had, 7 clean sheets more? Yeah, around there. Our defense was pretty solid, and it's going to keep being this year, but offensively, for sure, we need more work. And during this practice, you can see that the technical work is getting better and better each time. So I think the practices are being pretty good for that, for the defensive team.
What's it going to take for the team to become the first team ever to qualify for nationals?
I think, as Jamie said, if we keep just working as much as we work, keep beating the team that we expect it to be, I don't think we're going to commit as much as mistake as last year. We shouldn't, at least, because mistakes are going to make you lose games easily in this conference, because we have 2, 4, 5 teams maybe receiving votes in the national tournament. They are going to be in the national tournament. So I think, keeping the solid defense, clean sheets as much as we can, getting better in the offensive part of the pitch, I think is going to bring us different wins and better performance this year to go to the national tournament.
All right, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Once again, Jamie Highcock and Eduardo Benato of the men's soccer team at William Penn. All right, now we're going to bring up the women's soccer team, William Penn, and we'll bring up Associate Head Coach Simon Brown, as well as student athlete Isabella Parami.
Loud?
Yes, loud. All right, Coach Brown. Appreciate you guys coming up here for a few minutes. Let's talk about the start of this year. It's been a little bit up and down. You guys just played last night against Simpson, non-conference game, which obviously those don't tell a whole lot about anything, but it is a game. But you started the year with a couple of 2-1 overtime victories. Just kind of recap preseason and so far how the season's been going.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been up and down if you had done the interview yesterday before last night's game. We were really, really happy with the girls the way they started results-wise. Performances have probably been struggling a little bit. I think last night's game summed up where we've been so far. The first half we were unbelievable. Since I've been here, since we've been with the women's program the last 2.5 years, it's the best soccer that we've ever seen on the pitch, but we didn't score any goals, and then the second half was just not there for whatever reason. But the first half was unbelievable, and even speaking to Bella sitting over there, she was like, that was the most fun I've ever had playing. But again, we played really well and didn't get the results. In the first 2 games we didn't play well and get the results, so it's kind of just figuring out what we want to do. Obviously the results speak more than anything, the numbers don't lie, so everyone seems to look at the wins column. So
right, unfortunately soccer is that one sport where you can play amazing, and if you don't put the ball in the goal, it doesn't matter. So now that you one individual that's come back, Riley Ludwig, come back from a knee injury, how important, I'm not just singling out her, but the importance to the defensive side, assume that you feel like you're stronger there, and that allows you hopefully to maybe press a little bit more on the offensive side?
Yeah, we kind of put the goalkeepers in a difficult position last year because they were both freshmen and they both split time, and I think they were expecting goalkeepers, they know when they're coming in as freshmen. It's a bit different than other positions where, like Bella's a centre mid, but last year she played a little bit at right back. Keepers can only play in one position. last year they had to play, so we were expecting Riley to be there last year. Obviously, she did her excuse me, she did her knee in the spring of 2017. So yeah, it's a blessing to have her back, and she's kind of given that bit of leadership role and helping those goalkeepers so that when she does leave this year, she can help those which will be juniors transition a little bit better.
All right, what have you seen the first couple weeks that you're really pleased by, but also on the flip side, what are you like, or we really got to fix that if we're going to have a positive season?
What we're really excited about is, we saw last night, we were looking out, there's 5 freshman starters and 5 sophomores out there. So I think the team is in a really great place for not just this year, but for years to come. So it's a really, really solid base. Riley was the only senior that was out there. We mixed a couple in, but like I said, I think it's a good, really, really strong foundation. And we're competitive in every game, which starting a lot of freshmen it can be frustrating at times, and trying to get everyone used to each other and the way we're going. So like we had an extra week of preseason, like we said, trying to figure some stuff out. And the defenders are doing really well, midfielders doing really well. We just got to find a way to get some girls closer to goal, to get some more goals. I think that's one of the things that we're struggling with a bit, and that's our focus going to be. That's what's going to be our focus for the next couple of weeks.
All right, once again, you guys are playing Robert Morris as well on Saturday, so preview that matchup a little bit.
Yeah, obviously we played them last year. Really, really good game. I think they outshot us 2 or 3 to 1. Very, very technical team. They play a very attacking style, so we've got some film on them, so we're trying to give the girls a good scout report for Saturday. But I think it'll be a really, really good game. It'll probably be our most competitive game that we've had so far, which seems to be the way our schedule is working. It keeps on getting tougher and tougher and tougher, so it's just going to keep on testing these group of young girls.
All right, we're going to switch it over to Bella here. Bella, talk about, you're not an upperclassman yet, but you're a returner, and there is a lot of new blood in the system this year. So talk about just how the chemistry has been working out the first, I guess, month since you guys have been basically together.
The chemistry has been really well. We have a lot of good players individually. We got some really good freshmen. I think the biggest problem is we just need to figure out how everyone plays and work together. But everyone's been getting along, and it's been good.
Talk about your role on the squad. Again, not an upperclassman, but as a returner and starter and everything. I'm sure those freshmen, those newcomers are looking up to you and like, all right, what am I supposed to do now? So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only a sophomore, but it's really big for me. I need to come in and be a leader for everyone else. We have a really young team, so I just need to step up and lead everyone. So, yeah.
All right, talk about the individual and team goals that you guys have set this year.
Individual goals I have is to just lead the team and be one of the top goal scorers and people who have the most assists. And then our team goals is just to have a better record than last year and be able to place higher in playoffs.
All right, well, thank you guys so much. Once again, Simon Brown and Isabella Parami of the William Penn women's soccer team. We're just flying along. I don't know what time it is, but I feel like I'm ahead of the game on this one. So, yeah, we're way ahead. Okay. Well, I know that Coach Comfort's here for Oskaloosa volleyball, girls volleyball, so we will bring her up. So Oskaloosa girls volleyball headed by Jen Comfort, as well as you brought Mary Nelson, correct? Yes, Mary Nelson as well. So. Got a lot of pages. I got too many pages. So, all right, Coach Comfort. You guys have a lot of new bodies in the flow this year, but a nice little start to the season, 4-2, correct? 3-2. Sorry, I was thinking 4-2 for some reason in my head. Talk about camp and how things have progressed over the last month.
The girls have got to work almost immediately as soon as I got them right at the end of July. So we got in the gym, we got going. We've got 7 seniors, 0 juniors, 15 sophomores, and 6 freshmen. So it's a small but mighty group. We've got 28 of us, and the girls have really gotten after it. We went through camp, that went really well, and then we started preseason. After that, the girls, we counted up, put in 42 hours of work during preseason over the 2-week span, so I was very proud of them for doing that. They've got a lot of things that they want to work on and get better at, but they got in the gym and they got right down to business. So I was really happy about how we started out so far. So our matches have started out well, but this weekend we're going to really have our big test against the big teams.
Yeah, recap the first few matches. You guys started with Bondurant for our last week, and most recently played Grinnell and kind of beat up on the Tigers a little bit.
Yeah, we did. That was kind of fun. But we, I think, we opened up the season. The very first day of school, the girls opened up school, and then we went over to Knoxville and played Knoxville, Carlisle, and Ottumwa. We went 1-2 there. We probably could have came out 3-0, but the teams were actually played pretty well. So we learned a lot from that match. I think we went back to the gym and got to work. The girls understood the intensity that we needed to have and the execution that we needed to have. We were playing well enough to beat our second side, but we weren't doing things well enough that we needed to beat other teams. So I think it was a good eye-opener. It was a good, okay, we know what we need to do, and let's go do it now. So we did that against Bondurant. They're a team that had qualified for state last year. We knew they lost a lot, but they're still a quality program. So to come out and play well against them was a great testament to how well the girls worked over that week. And then, on Tuesday night we went to Grinnell and opened up conference with a win, and I was just really proud of the girls for getting on the road and getting a win.
You guys are at home considerably more than you have been over the last couple of years. Talk about how that is going to be a major advantage for the team.
The girls just really play well at home, which is great. So I'm happy to see that home schedule. We do have quite a few tough teams at home this year. We've got Norwalk and DCG are both already ranked in 4A at home within the conference, and it's just nice to be able to be on our home court. We're very comfortable there. The girls, like I mentioned, play well, but just also in front of a crowd that's there to support them and just watch some good volleyball. So I'm happy to be home, but we always be ready to travel because postseason, that's what you do.
What should fans be expecting this year, especially being that you do have an interesting mix of veterans and youth?
Yeah, with the 7 seniors that we've got, they're all going to be on the floor. They've all found a role within the team, which is great to see. That just naturally happened. Yes, I want to play seniors, but if they've earned it, they get to play, and they've all earned it. They put in work, and they're getting after it. So they're all accepting their roles, and they're all playing and working really hard at that. So that's great to see. We've got some returners back. Jolie's setting for her second year. Faith is on the outside. Taylor's on the outside for her 4th year. Mary's came back from an injury and stepping up in the middle and playing really well. Emily's in her 2nd year, I think, in the middle. Jess Heshelman, as a senior, is playing on the right side for the first time and doing really well with that. Riz, Alessna, and Megan Mormon are playing the defensive positions and doing that. So it's just been a really good mix of girls. There's about 8 of us, and that's just how it goes through our rotation. We have a lot of sophomores that are on varsity with us as well, and they're working really hard and just learning a lot about the game every single day.
All right, we're going to switch it over to Mary here. Mary, this is your 2nd now season working off of your knee injury. How has that been progressing? And you're feeling good, ready to go as your senior year starts off?
Yeah, I think going into soccer season I was very nervous and hesitant, but after I put in more work over the summer and got stronger, I feel way more stronger and actually more athletic than I felt before the injury.
As Coach Comfort mentioned, you guys have a lot of seniors. This is obviously your last ride and everything, but how important is it to finish strong, and how, I guess the word, not likely is it that you guys are going to have success, but the onus probably is for you guys, hey, well, we can do this, and we're really senior laden here, we can accomplish a lot of big things. How do you put extra pressure on yourselves because of that?
I don't think we put extra pressure, but we have high expectations for ourselves, especially since we've played for a long time together. We have high goals set for the end of the season, especially.
Talking about the Grinnell match individually there, it was an easier match as Coach Comfort mentioned, but what adjustments did you guys see? And okay, that's great, we played well, but we know we can play better. What other things are you looking at improving upon?
So our motto this season is do it great, and they say a lot that we are doing things good, but we need to take the extra step to make them great. And they gave us some examples that we can do and while we're playing.
All right, finally, what are expectations that you set for yourself for your final volleyball season, as well as what expectations have you guys set for as a team?
For myself, I just want to, well, I play in the middle, so I just want to set up a good block. That's just one example. But as a team, we want to make it to state, which a lot of teams say they want to do that, but we actually, I think, keep in mind every practice and keep the intensity and our mindset for that, and our coaches hold us accountable to that standard as well.
All right, well, again, Mary Nelson and Coach Jen Comfort of the Oskaloosa High School volleyball team. Best of luck the rest of this year. Next home game is?
Tuesday against DCG.
Okay, Tuesday against DCG. All right, best of luck. Thanks, ladies. Nick, do we have any other raffles? He's going to make some up even if we don't have them. I don't know how to say this last name. The next raffle winner, little blonde-haired 9-year-old, Whitney Steinloggy. She goes, what? What did I do? Didn't do anything wrong this time. I didn't, he did it, not me. I just read the name. Right here. Like, zoom in, it says it right there. He's telling lies over there. Okay. All right, we're going to switch it over to the college side of volleyball. And I have to say now women's volleyball. I can't just say volleyball anymore when we're talking about William Penn women's volleyball with Coach Alicia Cleaver and Corinne Lepper. Hello, ladies. How are we doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm just wonderful. All right, guys, coming off. Back that up. Back that way up. Okay. Coming off one of the best seasons recent history, talk about that year a little bit and how that is building for what you guys are trying to accomplish this year.
Yeah, last year was a lot of fun for the first year. I thought we made some good strides forward, and then moving on into this year, we definitely want to expand that and raise the bar even more. A ton of new kids in the program. We graduated a lot and recruited a lot new. So we have a lot of fresh faces on the court, but and we're really young, but it's pretty exciting so far. We work really hard, and they're doing a pretty good job.
Talk about the ability to host the Wendy's Classic last weekend. There were some ups and there were some downs and there was some et cetera, but it was a fun event. Anybody that came, I think we had a lot of positive comments, et cetera, about it. Just talk about how nice it is to be at home for a big tournament like that, and just being able to play in front of the home crowd, all of that, instead of having to go away for a couple days.
Yeah, hosting a tournament like that was definitely an undertaking for everybody, but I thought we had an amazing staff, and you did an amazing job, and everybody did an amazing job, so it was great to have that. But in terms of our girls, I know it was nice, you could just sleep in your own bed instead of being in a hotel, and things like that play into it, so that was nice. But it was cool to kind of showcase the facilities, and we had so many great responses about it, I guess. And so just being able to be on our own court, experience it was fun, and home crowd was amazing, so that was fun to play in front of family and friends on our home court for 4 games. It was a lot of fun.
Strengths last year, one of the strengths last year definitely would have been coming from your libero position with Ashley Miller. She has now graduated. Obviously having to fill up that hole right there as well as others, but talk about the strengths of this team early on and where do you feel like the improvements have been made since last year?
Yeah, definitely filling Ashley's spot was tough, but Cam is doing a phenomenal job back there, and she only has the sky is her limit, and it's awesome having Ashley to have her experience and her expertise being able to lead Cam. But our strengths right now is our front row, and a lot of players were really versatile, and so we're really just trying to figure out our best lineup and what's going to put us in the best position for success. And so I think that's something that we're really focusing on right now, and figuring out where somebody is doing the best. You know, Corinne's one right now where she, you know, excels at a lot of different positions. So trying to figure out, you know, what's going to be her best spot and where can we fill around her and, you know, things like that. So that's kind of what we're doing, you know, a little soul searching. But in terms of strengths, I think that's something that's big for us. Is just the versatility and, you know, being able to play multiple positions and do multiple things. That kind of plays into our depth. And so that's something that is definitely something we aren't used to. And so it's nice to be able to have that.
A lot of new players, obviously. You're always working on team chemistry every year in the first month. How is this team molding together?
I think they're doing a great job. You know, they're definitely fun to coach. They're definitely fun to be around. They work incredibly hard. They get on each other when they need to. They build each other up when they need to. And so the team culture and the chemistry is there. And I think that's something that we're going to continue to build on and grow from. And hopefully, you know, begin to produce on the court.
A lot of home events. I mean, obviously, we had the 4 last weekend, but a lot of home events coming up. Talk about them a little bit, and you know, obviously the fun that it is now to play under the cool lights and the pack and the new court and all of that.
Yeah, a lot of fun. You know, it's fun to have air conditioning. It's fun to not hit the rafters. So we're really excited. It's a great atmosphere. But yeah, and we're, you know, the crowds we have for the tournament were huge, and so you know, we're excited to continue that and get to be in front of our friends and family and go show out. But I know the girls are really excited about, you know, their new little arena. So we're excited about that and excited for the conference games we have coming up. So Tuesday night should be a good night.
Finally, what should fans be expecting this year of the 2019 William Penn women's volleyball team?
You know, I think we're going to be a fun group to watch. You know, they have a lot of excitement on the court and they do some goofy things, and I think that's, you know, it's enjoyable to watch that. You know, the girls are having fun, and it's always fun to watch them have fun. And so, you know, as they continue to work hard, you know, be there for each other and put the time in, I think there'll be some fun games in the future.
All right, thank you, Coach Cleaver. We're going to switch it over to Corinne now. Corinne, you had a dynamite freshman year, all-conference player. Talk about your freshman year a little bit, and you know, did you exceed your expectations? And then part B, what are your expectations for this year now that you have learned, you know, what it takes to play at the collegiate level?
Yeah, I definitely exceeded what I was expecting, because it's just like the transition from high school to college is just so different, and I learned so much, like thanks to obviously Coach Cleaver. She taught me so much just in my first year of college, and just the way the game is played is so much faster and everyone around you is so good, and so it just made my level so much better. And for my sophomore year, I just want to be the player coach can turn to, like, hey, like, put this ball down. Like, I want to be that person for our team and just be really dependable and reliable.
A lot of compliments on, and compliment with an E, I don't go into all this. We had a whole conversation in my office today about which compliment we're talking about, but a lot of new individuals on the team that can compliment you and help, so you're not the only person having to put down the kill and everything. How is this year's team different than last year's?
I think everyone around us, we just support each other so much. Like, we have very healthy competition. Like, me and Dan, like, we play the same position, and we have the healthiest competition I've ever seen. Like, we don't get jealous, and we support each other. Like, if we do something wrong, like, hey, like, do this, and we want to support each other and fix our mistakes and just uplift everyone. Like, because we also have Libby on the outside and Jada, and we just support them as much as we can to make it a whole team so much better. Yeah.
Again, some of the new individuals are actually older than you now, juniors, etc. But being, you know, the veteran that you are with the year of experience, talk about your role that you play on the team.
Well, just being like a sophomore, I also think I could be a leader. Like, even though I'm an underclassman technically, I would want to fill the shoes of, like, get our team together, let us calm down after maybe if we're not doing so hot, or get us on and just like get it going, and just not, I want to overstep my role, just I want to be there for people to turn to. I don't want people to look down upon me, like, oh, like, she's better than me. I don't want people to think that. I want people to compete with me and just be a team with us, like, oh, we got this, like, we're a team, we're just as good as the next person next to us, and want to make each other better.
All right, well, awesome. Once again, Coach Alicia Cleaver, as well as Corinne Lepper of the William Penn women's volleyball team. They are home next Tuesday against Culver Stockton. So, once again, that's in the pack. Don't go to the gym. No longer playing volleyball in the gym, thank goodness. So, playing in the pack, awesome light show. Get there early for all of that. So.
Thank you.
Back on. All right, a couple more names here in the raffle. So when we say your name, come on up and grab some Indian or Statesman apparel. The first one is Cami Christner, because she doesn't have enough William Penn, so I got a feeling she's going to pick an Oski thing. And then also the other winner of the raffle is Nick Lauterbach.
I signed you up.
All right, Coach Jenkins is here, so we're going to move forward here. The final two sports here will be both football, and starting off here will be the Oskaloosa High School team, coached by Jake Jenkins. And joining him will be senior Aaron Blom. All right, Coach, we'll keep it short. I know you're a little sick, so. All right. All right, back to back to back. First time ever in school history going to state, but a strong senior class has departed. How are you filling those holes? How are you getting ready for 2019 and looking to hopefully maybe go back to back to back to back? Is that 4? I don't know. Hopefully 4 in a row. Let's go with that.
We're going to reboot with this group of seniors that we have right now. They've done a good job stepping up, and tonight we were at practice and I was looking around, and out of our starters on our defense, we have 9 out of the 11 guys out there were seniors, so there's a lot of seniors playing both ways, and they filled those roles and have done a really good job. Very proud of their effort so far this season.
Talk about preseason, as it was obviously a very important preseason to get so many individuals who maybe didn't get a lot of time in the past, get them game ready.
Well, it's always difficult, but if you're going to be a good program, especially with football, you have to have a good off-season with lifting. And so we had record-breaking attendance in the off-season in the summer lifting, and so you tell those guys we're taking it seriously, and they really want to do well their senior year, so they've stepped up in a big way. And then it always comes down to camp, who's going to show up, who's going to be ready to go, and then, guys fighting for same spots and just being creative, trying to figure out this giant puzzle that ends up being the offense and defense side of the ball. So we've done that, we've moved a lot of guys, and we feel pretty good about where we're at right now.
Talk about the first game. Last year, PC nipped us. This year, we were able to come out on top. It's a solid team for a 1A, very, very solid team. Can hold their own against a lot of 3A schools. So let's talk about what you guys learned from that first week.
Oh, we learned a lot. The most improvement you make is from week 1 to week 2, and so we found out a lot in that game. They made a lot of mistakes, we made mistakes, but it was a good battle, and it went back and forth, and they're a very well coached team and coached program, and their guys played really hard. Defensively, we got a lot of young guys out there. We got to make better reads. We got to read pulling guards and tackles a lot better. And then offensively, we had pretty much a whole new starting offensive line with the exception of one returner, and so it was just the first time they were out there together. And they just have to communicate. We have to get lined up. This week of practice has just been night and day different. The way we're executing, especially with the offensive line, this Thursday compared to last Thursday it was night and day different. And so I'm very excited with the improvement that we've made on both sides of the ball, and especially with our lines.
I hate to single out one guy, but he's kind of been pretty good, or was pretty good last week. Talk about William Schultz a little bit.
He's a special guy. A lot of times we don't, we try not to play sophomores, especially start sophomores. They have to be pretty special to do so. This guy did as a sophomore, and he actually kicked for us as a freshman. He's a special talent, special player. Will's a special talent as well. He's quick, he's fast, he makes good reads, extremely athletic, and so we put him in a tough role, especially being a quarterback, leading the entire offense, and he did a good job for being a sophomore. And then on the defensive side, we had another sophomore starting with Colin Snicker, and he did an excellent job as well. He's very coachable. He made a lot of mistakes, but he's willing to fix those mistakes and move forward. He's smart and he loves the game. And so we had a couple of really young guys out there playing, and I thought they did a great job for their first start.
Let's preview the Washington game this Friday, tomorrow night, I guess it is.
Well, it's always a battle with Washington. They're tough, they're physical, they're well coached. It's always a dogfight. It's always one of the most physical games of the year. And so the last 3 years, we're 2-1 against them. It's always been a home win. So we've won both times at home, and then we lost at their place last time. So we'd really like to go in there and win on their turf. And to do that, we're going to have to execute a lot better on offense, and we're going to have to play better on defense, and we have to be flawless on special teams. So we plan on making a lot of improvements and adjusting better, and it's going to come down to who's going to play 4 quarters and who wants it more.
What should fans be expecting this year? I mean, again, a lot of new individuals. I mean, you're playing some younger kids. So obviously, the thought is you guys are going to get better every week, and obviously you already have from last Thursday to this Thursday. But I guess where are the expectations, and what are you guys hoping to do?
Our expectation is to be in every game. We want to win every game that we play, but we don't get ahead of ourselves. And so really, we have one game this year, and it's in Washington. So all of our effort and focus is on Washington right now. And I think if you think too far ahead, you can kind of get ahead of yourself, and you can lose track of focus. So we stay focused, like Coach Half does, one game at a time, and we really mean it. We don't even look at the schedule until after the game is over. So we're just going to focus 1 week at a time and keep improving the things that we can improve, getting guys in the best position they possibly can to be successful.
All right, Coach. Well, best of luck tomorrow night. As the year goes on, we're going to switch it over to your student athlete, Aaron, here. Aaron, as Coach mentioned, you've been in the program for several years, had a lot of opportunities to kick that pigskin around. How important is it to have a big senior year? I mean, what are you looking to accomplish this year?
It means a lot to me, like just being out there with my guys, the guys I've grown up with. I've played with them for probably like 6 years now, so just being able to finish out my career with them and play as hard as I can to play ball on the field.
What senior team, senior group goals have you guys set for yourselves, knowing, again, this is your last hurrah?
We want to keep it going 4 in a row, make it to the playoffs, but I don't think we just want to stop at the playoffs. We want to go to the Dome. We want to, we've had these goals since we started playing football. We want to go to the Dome, so that's probably our biggest goal this year is to go to the Dome.
So what's that going to take? Obviously, the other teams in the past, very talented squads as well. You guys, seem to have as much talent as the other teams. Definitely potential to go deep. What is it going to take to get over the hump?
We just kind of have to put it all together in the last game in the playoffs. The past couple of years, we've had a couple miscues, a couple big plays that kind of have put us out of the game. And this year, we just need to stick together and play to the best of our ability, and I think we can get it done.
All right. Finally, realistically, if the drive stalled at what yard line would you still feel comfortable kicking the ball?
Realistically, I think if we get the ball on our side of the 50.
Okay. That's pretty far. With the wind, yeah. And it's always windy out in Lacey, so yeah, definitely. That's for sure. All right, well, best of luck, guys. Again, Jake Jenkins and Aaron Blum of the Oskaloosa football team. Best of luck, guys. Got a couple more names here for the raffle. All right, we're gonna have a little bit of a family-oriented drawing here. Steph Christner is our winner of this first drawing of this round, and also Keith Comfort has won as well. Both seem quite surprised. All right, to finish off the night, last but not least, we will have William Penn football head coach Todd Hafner as well as Hayden Stender.
Howdy.
We don't have any applause for you guys. I'm sorry.
Right. We don't need any.
Nobody's paying attention to me anymore.
Do people pay attention to
No,
you ever anyway?
they don't.
Okay.
They don't. Used to it. It's fine. It's okay. All right, Coach. We talked many times about last year, so we don't really have to talk about a tough 2018, but a lot's changed in the last 12 months. Talk about the changes that have been implemented to make 2019 a banner year.
Well, I think the biggest part about last year was, so many people talk about how team chemistry is one of the most vital parts to a successful team, and we just didn't have it. We had some things that we were fighting from day one, and it was a struggle. And you know, as coaches, we take a lot of responsibility for that because it's our job to make sure that, you know, our kids are on board, we're doing the right things, and they're doing the right things, and we didn't hold up our end of the bargain. So we went back to the drawing board in the spring and did some things a little bit different, and thanks to guys like Hayden here, we were able to get things going in the right direction again, and feel really good about the direction of this football team. We've you know, brought in some great young talent that has really helped us with the leadership that these guys have given, and the young talent that we have. We feel that you know, this team's going to win games, and this team's moving in the right direction. You know, maybe Jake's heard this from me before, but the improvement from week 1 to week 2 is always so vital, and I think that our practice habits from last week to this week have changed drastically. I think our kids they want to win, they want to do things right, and we had a great week.
Let's talk about last week a little bit. The start of unfortunately, a very tough road, but it always has been ever since we've been in the hard. We get the toughest teams out of the South right out of the gate, and you know, we just have to perform and find a way to get through it. But let's talk about the Evangel game a little bit.
Well, you know, I thought after the game, I told our kids, you know, we didn't come out on the right end of the scoreboard, but it wasn't because of lack of effort. I thought our kids played their hearts out. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't like we said, well, if we would have played better in this quarter, things would have been different. We just didn't. We didn't execute when we needed to. But again, I go back to, you know, there were times last year that we were questioning whether our kids even wanted to play, and you know, that was never the case on Saturday. I don't think it'll ever be the case this year. I think our kids are into it. They want to play for each other, and you know, we're going to win our fair share, and hopefully we can get started on the right track this weekend. But I thought that our kids played well. We needed to execute a couple more times down the stretch, and we just didn't get it done. I thought our defense was outstanding. We didn't help them as an offense by going 3 and out 3 or 4 times in a row toward the end of the game, and you know, we have to do a better job of controlling the football and doing some things better on offense, and I think we will.
You've mentioned in the past to me that this year's offense especially, is going to have a little bit more of a different look to it. Not air raid, we mentioned right away, it's not an air raid offense, but things will be
I don't even know what that means.
Am I the only one that knows? Well, we're not, okay, whatever.
Okay. Air raid.
Wayne the smartest guy at the stage all the time.
Jake knows all about air raid. We don't know anything about it.
All right, well, we are going to pass a little bit more, according to Coach Hafner. So let's talk about that briefly, but as well as you know, some of the strengths that this year's team is going to have.
Well, I think we're really excited about our receiving core, number one. We have to do a better job of trying to figure out ways to get the ball to them in space, and you know, whether that happens this weekend or next weekend or whenever, we'll figure out ways to get those guys the ball. And you know, with our guys up front, you know, it's so ingrained in them to be physical and do some different things that it's been a little bit of a transition for some of them to be, you know, get in a pass set and do some of those things. And we're working on it. We're getting better at it. But in order for us to improve, we have to continue to run the football, play action, get the ball down the field to some of our speed guys, Jeremiah Benson and some of those guys. And you know, the transition is still ongoing. We're going to be better at what we do. We're going to continue to work at what we do, and you know, but air raid is out of the question. Just so you know, you brought that up a couple more times.
I didn't like saying air raid. I'm sorry.
I keep going with this, but it won't be air raid. I promise.
Talk about the defensive side. You guys have a lot of returners in the front, in the middle, and then you get to that backside, and that secondary is pretty young. A little bit different.
Freshman
pretty young, yeah. Like, I don't know if you can get any younger. My son could play, I guess. You know, a 6-year-old. Talk about just the overall defensive side.
Well, you know, again, it's just like the offensive side with Hayden and that group. The defensive side starts with our guys up front. You know, we feel that we've definitely improved at a lot of positions inside there. Obviously, with Rayshon Coleman on the edge, he's always going to give you an opportunity to get to the quarterback and to draw double teams and create openings for other people. And you know, with Marquise Knighton and Dan Minderman and TJ, when he gets back and some things like that. So it's one of those things where we feel really good about our guys. We think we're going to be able to pressure the quarterback. Jaden Fletcher and Jonathan Thomas, you know, at linebacker. You know, those kids have been mainstays for the last couple of years. And then you get to the back end and it gets young. And you know, sometimes young is scary when it's not talented, but we feel very confident in those kids. And you know, when we start the game on Saturday, there'll be 3 freshmen on the back end. And are we nervous about that? A little bit, but they're not. And that's really the only thing that matters. They're very confident in what they do. They've had a great week of practice. I actually get some time now to go watch the defense a little bit, and Coach Norberg and Coach Yabar have done a great job putting together a game plan, and we'll go down there and compete like crazy, and hopefully those young guys can stand up and make a play or two.
All right, you guys are at home 4 more times this year, including homecoming on October 19th. Just talk about you know, how important it is to always be playing at home in front of a big crowd.
Oh, it's unreal. You know, next week we'll come back home and play Mid-American Nazarene and go on the road, and then we have a home game, a home night game, and we haven't had one for a while. And so those are so fun to play. You know, we get to turn the lights on. Our kids get to think about the glory days back on Friday nights. And you know, for this old guy, you know, those night games, it gets late. You know, it gets over 9 o'clock.
I mean, go to bed.
I've been in bed by then.
Same joke with Coach Cleaver earlier today.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things. But our kids love it. We love it. The crowd comes out. It's a lot of fun. And you know, obviously homecoming, where we're hoping for a big crowd, and then a game later on at Peru State. Maybe I think we play again at home. But you know, hopefully we have won some games by then. Hopefully we can get some energy in the stadium. And you know, I thought the crowd the other day was fantastic. There were a lot of people there. They were loud. They were into the game. And you know, unfortunately we couldn't get it done for them. But please keep coming out. This team's going to be fun to watch, and we're going to win our fair share.
All right, thanks, Coach. We're going to switch over to Hayden here. Hayden, talk about, I guess the same question I had for Coach. What's the difference in the last 12 months, especially you're going into your final year, just internally as a player, how much has changed in this program?
I'd say kind of the culture around, like, we didn't exactly erase it, but like Coach said, we reiterated it, like what was important to us as a team and what we weren't doing right and what we should have been doing right. And we were kind of making our team make the people who were doing the things right look like they were standing out when we should have been everybody's doing that, and then the people who aren't doing that, you know, that's who you're looking at and you're saying, hey, step it up. So I think that's the biggest thing that's changed.
Talk about the offensive line. You're on a big part of the offensive line that's going to be, you know, as always, one of the best rushing teams in the nation. The difference now that you guys are being asked to do a little bit different blocking scheme at times. Again, not the AR word, we won't say it.
Right.
It's like zone blocking, you know, you just don't, some things you just don't say.
I mean, I'd say, you know, we're still going to run our triple option. We're going to do what William Penn does, you know. We're a physical team, and up front, we know that. We know what we put ourselves through. And I mean, on last Saturday, we ran pistol a lot. So, I mean, just personally, I was, you know, backside blocking. It was not zone scheme, but almost what you want to call it. And I was like, man, I still got a lot of energy, guys. Like, I'm running downfield like 10 yards trying to make blocks, you know. But, I mean, when you're on the triple option, it's a little bit more physical inside. And, I mean, all of us know that, you know, we'll battle injuries throughout the season and stuff like that. But it's just something that we got to practice on individual, and it's just something we all got to work on, so.
What are the keys to success for this year, especially just talking, I guess, on the offensive side? What are you guys going to have to do to, you know, just get better and make that, you know, a couple big plays, execute at the right time?
Right, yeah, so execution is one thing. I mean, just effort, you know, everybody out there is wanting to play. Like Coach said, the difference between this year and last year is everybody's out there wanting to put forth effort and wanting to actually hit somebody, you know. And like I just said, we're a physical team, and I think that one thing that we probably do more than anybody else is run the ball. And, you know, a lot of people draw up schemes like that, but these coaches, they figured out something else. Maybe we throw some RPOs in like that and catch some guys off guard and throw a deep bomb and see what happens, so.
Love football terminology. He doesn't know air raid, but we had RPO from your players, so do you know what RPO is, Coach? We have a lot of good times, Coach Hafner and I. Anyway, finally, individual team goals as you're going into your final, well, as you started your final collegiate season.
I mean, obviously, we all got our eyes on that Natty and conference, you know. And I mean, just coming in as a freshman in 2016, we got conference rings. And so I just think, like, as it being my final year, and I mean, up front, our starting five is all seniors. So I know it would mean a lot to a lot of the guys that have been putting forth all that grit and work to at least come out with some rings. So I think that's one goal that everybody's focused on. So, but again, we got to take it 1 week at a time. We can't overlook anybody, and we don't want anybody overlooking us, because, you know, that's how it goes.
All right, thanks, guys. William Penn down at Benedictine on Saturday, so best of luck. Again, tough start to the season, but if anybody can handle it, William Penn can. So once again, Coach Todd Hafner as well as Hayden Stender of the William Penn football team. All right, Nick, do we have any final raffles? I think we're good. He's not ready, so we're gonna go with no. Thank you again, everybody that was able to come, and so many people, I'm sure, back home watching on M2G Channel 7, as well as the Indian Sports Network, the Statesman Sports Network, on the app, as Nick always likes to say. So we will have tons and tons of more events coming your way as the rest of the year progresses. So go Statesman, go Indians, go Oskaloosa, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
It's always fun. If they really